You think innocent people don't go to prison? You think they don't get arrested, go to jail? I have some stories here from you guys of times when that very thing happened. A woman is just driving down the road one day after work. She gets pulled over. The cop sees her name and takes her to jail because there's a warrant out for her arrest. They take everything from her, her jewelry, all her clothes, her Apple Watch, her shoes, everything. She has to do a strip search. The whole time she's protesting and saying, "It's not me. I don't have a warrant out on me. Like, I promise, let me call somebody." They call her a liar and she's locked up. She goes to bond court the next day. The judge takes one look at her and realizes that they got the wrong woman. It was another woman with her exact same name. They didn't even apologize. College kid decides to go for a walk and he put his AirPods in, cranked it up, and he's just doing his thing. All of a sudden, he's being thrown on the ground with his hands behind his back. His face is pressed up in the gravel. He has no idea what's happening. An AirPod falls out and he hears that he's under arrest. Turns out a cop had been trying to get his attention. He didn't hear him. And so the cop thought he was being like a jerk and decided to arrest him for that. A dad was deciding to like get rid of stuff that no longer served a purpose in his life, and he had this old guitar that he was not even playing anymore, so he decided to sell it. He takes it to the pawn shop and sells it, gets a small amount of money, and a few days later he is approached by the cops. They come to his house and he is placed under arrest because that guitar, he had bought it secondhand from like Facebook Marketplace, and that was stolen. The guitar was stolen, and like he protested and he said, "No, no, no! Like when I bought it, like I bought it from this person. It doesn't matter. It was reported stolen. It got pawned." He went to jail. A girl was leaving the gym and she ran a red light and she got pulled over. As soon as she saw the blue light, she pulled over. The officer came, asked for her license and registration. Of course, she's like, "Yeah, I'm guilty," basically. She hands that stuff over. A few minutes later, he comes back, asks her to step out of the car. She thinks this is a little bit strange, but she steps out of the car. And then he turns her over and puts her hands behind her back and puts handcuffs on her. She has a warrant out for her arrest for a ticket that she failed to pay, and it's because it never got forwarded to her new address. She didn't even know about it. And I saved the worst for last. An elderly woman on a fixed income takes care of her grandchild. She is her grandchild's sole provider. And one day, the cops come to the door and they place her under arrest for writing bad checks. She had a checkbook. Somebody in her life had come by, stolen checks out of her checkbook, and written bad checks all over town, but it was in her name. So she was the one who went to jail. And she's sitting up in jail. They give her a $500 bond, which is really, really cheap, but she's on a fixed income. She doesn't have $500. Her grandbaby got placed in foster care. After she'd been sitting in jail for like 3 months, they finally approached her with a plea deal. They said, "Admit your guilt and we'll let you out with like 2 years probation, or you can take this to trial." And to take it to trial would mean that she'd be locked up longer. And then she might not even be found innocent. She might have to go to prison after that. So she ended up taking the plea deal, admitting that she was guilty of writing checks. She took a charge that was not even hers. Oh, and due to her charges that she now had, she was unable to regain custody of her grandchild.